Hi everybody, I'm Mandy Weger. I'm on our soup team here at Campbell's, and today we wanted to talk to you about our pasta shapes and how the characters that you love become pasta. So I'm here with senior designer Brookes, and we wanted to talk to you specifically about Disney-Pixar's Finding Dory. If you haven't already seen it in theaters, we saw it this past weekend and it's fantastic, so I hope that you go and see it. But in order to get excited about it, we wanted to tell you a little bit more about how we made the shapes to go into our Campbell soup featuring Disney-Pixar's Finding Dory. Corey?
Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Brookes, a senior designer here in U.S. Marketing. Welcome to the design area. One of the fun parts of my job are not only getting to design the soup labels for a lot of our products, including our red and white kids condensed line of soups, but we also get to design the shapes themselves. So it's a fun part of my job, and just wanted to talk you through how we get there.
Great.
So again, yeah, when we're talking about the shapes, it just, you know, these are the shapes how we call them out on the back of our labels. But to get from idea to here, I'll talk you through the process.
Fantastic. So I think we're going to take some look at some sketches that our designers have come up with. So
Yep.
Corey, can you show us a little bit how you get started?
Sure. So like a lot of design work, right? We still like to work in the old-fashioned pen and paper. We start by thinking about, okay, what character range do we have to work with? What are some of the characters that we want to explore? And we'll just sit down and do some sketching. Now, each designer has their own their own style and look and feel, but ultimately we get to a process that makes them unified and indistinguishable from one designer to the other. But
so it looks like you have some restrictions in terms of how you can design. Everything is in this little circle space, and you have to design within a small space.
That's exactly right. So when we go from sketch to computer, we use specialized software, but we also we use a template that and you're exactly right. We want to stay within a circle. Because ultimately when the pasta gets produced and when the dyes for the pasta get produced, it's in a circle environment. So as long as the character fits within the circle and as long as it maintains a consistent line width, that's the most important thing. The trick with the pasta shape creation is it's a real balance between the technical capabilities of what's going to hold up in the manufacturing or the cooking of the pasta, and making the character look recognizable.
I'm sure that it's something that you have to take into account, seeing that pasta is something that grows in the cooking process, and when you're drawing something on paper, it could look a little bit different in the final product.
That's exactly right. You're hitting on the exact point. As everyone knows, pasta expands when it absorbs the broth and when it is cooked. So we purposely start at a kind of a thinner line weight to compensate for that expansion, and we'll show you that. But I think really what we do is we start really wide. We do a lot of character exploration in order to narrow down to ultimately we want to have 3, 4, 5 shapes at most in the kids soup. So we really have to start wide. Then we work with our internal our marketers, our R&D experts, our pasta experts to determine, all right, so what's looking really good in terms of character recognition for the kids, have fun shapes, but also, again, what's technically capable.
Something that's possible or pastable, as we've said, but that also maintains its integrity, that you can recognize the shape. I'm sure that that takes a lot of different people together to work through.
Exactly. What we'll find is we'll put up a set of recommended shapes. We'll pick a few of the best, and then what we'll do is we'll really go back and forth between the again R&D to make sure when they're doing a run of the pasta that it cooks down and the pasta is not breaking. Sure. or it's really it's not. Sometimes we design it too thick, and that pasta actually won't cook if the weight is too thick. And that pasta, it actually won't cook, so we have to, thin it down. So here's an example with one character where we really refined, not the placement of the fins, and it's just little details that really add up to making a really good looking character.
So you really do have to be a pasta expert in order to get these sketches from, you know, an idea in your head to a reality.
Yep.
So it looks like these are the final shapes that we went with?
That's right. We landed on four fun shapes. And once the final shapes are approved, we send the line art to our pasta vendor to actually create these cool little things. These are little, yeah. So these are brass dies that are actually manufactured. And you can see that one end, Mandy, this is where the pasta goes in. This is where the pasta gets pushed out. And
it creates the little shapes. That's
exactly,
amazing.
yeah. We insert these into plates. They go into the machine that pushes the pasta, and you can see in the little video loop, that's actually, so these shapes are drying, but when it loops around again, you'll see that it's actually, the pasta comes out and gets sliced off.
And it's all from these little die.
Yep, that's correct. So we'll gang up a number of each character onto one big, so we can produce a lot at once.
Just like that. Okay, great. And it looks like we have a bowl here of some of our finished shapes.
Yeah. So this is the actual, you know, these are Pixar Dory.
It's going to be a little difficult to see on the camera, but this is pretty cool, where you can see just what the dried pasta looks like.
Yep. So
and yeah, they do look exactly like those little drawings.
And then here we have an example, you know, here's when it's actually, this is their actual soup. So when it's actually cooked, you can see the expansion, right? So they grow a bit, but that's cool. You know, they become even more fun.
So they come from this small size and they cook up to this larger size.
Yep.
And you can absolutely tell that is a little Nemo.
Pretty cool.
Little fin and everything. That's pretty amazing.
So this is the process we use for all our fun shapes.
So what would you say is the most fun part of this whole process?
I think it's really just seeing it come to life and seeing those final you know that kids love the shaped pasta, and that's what makes the soup so fun.
Sure.
So I think it's just knowing that it's kind of like a fun little process that gets you from a sketch to a final product. That's, as a designer, that's really what's fun.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for taking us through this. I'd like to open it up to any of you out there who are watching who might have questions. If you have any questions, please submit them now, and we'll just wait a minute. I just love watching this loop of the pasta coming out of the machine. It's absolutely incredible just to see how precise every single one of those little pasta shapes are from these little die.
Yeah, they have to control the amount of pasta that comes out and where the blade cuts, and you know.
So it's consistent every single time.
Exactly. It's a high level of consistency.
So did we have any questions come through in the audience?
We have one.
Okay.
Now, if something doesn't run, imagine you have a test run to practice out the shapes. Do you have to go back and change the design?
So if something doesn't work in the test production?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, it's rare, but sometimes, you know, our final shapes, when they go, you know, we do some back and forth with the vendors, make sure that we're not doing anything outside of any technical limits, right? That's why it's a rigorous process. But oftentimes they might be running it, and if they find that that a shape is the integrity of the shape, it's breaking in a certain location, or it's not maintaining its shape, then they might come back and say you have to reinforce this, or you know, do something to and it might affect the visual integrity of the shape, but that's the balance, right, that we have to strike between creating the character recognition and then the pasta-ability.
I mean, it takes certainly a ton of rigor in order to get from just a sketch to the final product that we see here.
Yeah.
Guys, we have another question.
Sure.
Tracy Jones would like to know, is this the first non-traditional shaped Campbell's has made? Non-traditional pasta shape.
No, we've done.
Yeah, we have quite a few different shapes. You might be familiar with some of the shapes that we've done for Lucasfilm's Star Wars that came out this past December, and that was a lot of fun. I think that you worked on that project as well.
Sure. Even some of our regular line soups, our double noodle or our chicken alphabet, right? Chicken alphabet's a classic. Those shapes all had to be designed. Those letter forms all had to be designed for this in the same way, that have to balance the weight of the letter versus the pastability of cooking it. So, yeah, we've been doing shaped pasta for a while. We're getting more and more fun, and trying to really, push the limits of what can be done. But
it's a lot of fun, I have to say, to be able to see some of these great characters that we all know and love come to life through, our favorite soups.
Yeah.
We have another question.
Okay.
How many attempts before you get to that final product? I think you hit on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what we want to do is really kind of establish the shape through a sketch process, really, and get to a line art shape that we know is going to be kind of perfect for out of the gate, right? Because as you can imagine, building out a lot of these is not cheap, right? I mean, you're building a lot of brass plates and hardware that they're intentionally built with product that will withstand the production process. But we don't want to waste a lot of money on our back end trying to refine the shapes when we know we have the technical capability to work it out and get it very refined at this stage.
That's why I think that you work with so many different people. You have our partners in R&D, and you have all of these experts who are pretty familiar with the process at this point. So that way, once we go into production, hopefully we can keep a lot of those errors at a minimum.
You can imagine a design review is pretty fun when we're sharing a lot of art, and technologists from R&D are in the design review saying, well, that's too thick right there, guys, or that fin can't come to that point. So it's outside the usual kind of label design work. But that's again what makes it fun, is all the cross-functional teams.
So I think there probably isn't a number associated with how many rounds of revisions you do, but just thinking through all the people that we have to talk to, all the people that we have to work with in order to make this possible, or postable again, because we love puns here. But everything that we have to do to make this possible is everybody's trying to see this succeed the first time around, and hopefully that's going to be the case.
Yeah, and I will say that certain shapes are, we land on it quicker, right? We kind of get to a shape that looks a little better right out of the bat versus some that might need refinement.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Any other questions?
How did you become a pasta and label designer?
How did I become a pasta? So
it's a really fun question.
But yeah. So I'm a graphic designer by trade, and my specialty is package design. So I was a package designer for Campbell's first. And just one of the fun things of working for a food company is that this pasta creation, pasta design part of it came only through Campbell's, through working at Campbell's. Now, it's great because, as a designer, the thinking and the sketching that has to go into it is just like anything else. I have to solve the problem visually of creating the shape. So it's no different than any other design. It's just tied a little bit more to technical expertise.
Sure.
So it's fun.
It's definitely a fun job for Corey.
Yeah.
We all loved seeing all the cool designs that he comes out with.
Guys, going off that Jessica's question, are our non-traditional pasta shapes a different recipe or taste any different than our regular pasta shapes?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah. No, the pasta is the same recipe. So you'll notice the different shape and the different the different characters, but the noodles should taste the same.
They should taste the same, made with the same ingredients.
Yep. Great.
Cool.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our live session here today. I hope that you learned a little bit more about our pasta shapes that go into Campbell's soup. Thank you so much, Corey, for joining us and for telling us a little bit more about this process and your involvement in it. I hope that everybody gets a chance to go see Disney-Pixar's Finding Dory, because it's an absolutely fantastic film. Take your whole family. It was a lot of fun, and be sure to pick up some cans of Campbell's soup while you're at it, and it'll be a fun activity for everybody. All right, so join us next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.